How's it going, everybody? It's Yong here, and welcome to day 12 of the Final Fantasy XV Countdown Retrospective. A mere dozen days to go, people. Holy shit! Before you proceed, I highly recommend you check out day 13, in which I discussed news all the way up to the release of Final Fantasy XV's demo, episode Duskaya. In this video, I'll be talking about the release of Duskaya 2.0, as well as news leading up to Gamescom 2015. There is a lot to talk about, so without further ado, let's dive right into it. Last time, we left off on April 28th, 2015, which was when Square Enix released an active time report dedicated to addressing some of the feedback that they received for the recently released episode Duskaya demo. Next time we would hear of the game was the following month on May 18th, 2015, which was when Square Enix announced that episode Duskaya 2.0 would be coming sometime in early June. A little later than Tabata's anticipated late May release, but not a big deal. Then, the month after that, on June 4th, 2015, Square Enix hosted yet another active time report livestream in which game director Hajime Tabata addressed some more feedback from episode Duskaya and talked about some of the major changes that resulted following the transition from Versus 13 to 15. This article by website DualShockers did a really good job in summarizing the whole broadcast, so I'll be making use of it for this segment. The article began by summarizing what Tabata had to say about the changes that 15 underwent after its name changed from Versus 13. The summary reads as follows. During the latest active time report broadcast, Final Fantasy XV director Hajime Tabata explained that the story has been changed from the original Final Fantasy Versus 13. Tabata-san wanted a complete and coherent story that could fit in its entirety in a single game. The team tried to retain as many elements as possible that were already publicized, and also considered what was feasible on the new hardware. They remained as faithful as possible to the original scenario by Kazushige Nojima, and Nojima himself has been consulted extensively about this, but there have been some changes, including a few main points. The team found it difficult to fit Stella in Final Fantasy XV, so she won't be included in the game. They instead created a new heroine, Luna, who has a different role in the game. We'll hear more about her in the future. The sequence in Final Fantasy Versus 13 in which the capital city of Insomnia is attacked by enemy troops after the party in the castle, that scene is no more part of the game. In Final Fantasy XV, Noctis and his friends leave Insomnia before the attack. There will still be gameplay set in Insomnia, but it won't be around the same timeline. Tabata-san promised that they will be great and encouraged fans to look forward to them. The black-haired woman and the female dragoon showcased in previous reveals are still in the game and have an important role in the story. Tabata-san mentioned that he realizes that many have been looking forward to Final Fantasy Versus 13, and he can't help but feel that Final Fantasy 15 is becoming a different game, so he wanted to explain the difference before promotion starts at Gamescom. Yet he promised that the team will make absolutely no compromises in order to deliver the best possible game. Next up is some new information that Tabata provided about the game in response to fan feedback and questions, all organized into bullet points which read as follows. In the final game, you'll be able to buy and sell items in bulk. In the final game, there will be all kinds of drops and things you can collect, and there will be ways to use them. For instance, to customize Noctis's car. The team wants to implement a proper system to allow players to use the items they accumulate. The team is working to add environmental sounds that change dynamically via AI control. That way, the sound around the player will change depending on the environment. If that proves impossible, Tabata-san would at least want to have sound effects that change when you go to different areas. In the demo, there is music only during battle and events, but there will be more variety in the final game, with music that will play while exploring the world as well, like in all open-world games. Underwater fights and exploration might happen, but not with the initial launch. It would add an enormous amount of workload due to the need to introduce completely new sound effects, animations, AI parameters, physics, and more. They might come after release as DLC if the need is there. The development team will look at implementing something that will warn the player when his stamina is running out. The character design for Sydney was created by the Italian character designer Roberto Ferrari. Many of his designs are being carried over from Versus 13. Luminous Engine has been merged with the Ebony development environment that was used before for Final Fantasy XV. AI has reached higher levels on PS4 and Xbox One, so it's important to have good enemy designer in order to make battle fun. In order to develop Final Fantasy XV, Square Enix gathered artists with particularly strong skills from many different teams. Tabata-san feels like he's working with an all-stars team. Alongside with this information, we were also presented 2 new trailers during the livestream event, one for Duscae 2.0 and another one to show off the Luminous Studio game engine at work. Let's check out the latter first.
Final Fantasy XV is a big game with a big vision, and the designers and artists needed an engine that could live up to that. The biggest challenge on the graphics side is that everything is dynamic. So you could say, okay guys, we're going next gen, let's put in a physically based lighting system and global illumination and all that. But then you say, oh, and by the way, thick clouds can roll in at any time. Or you could be indoors 1 minute and the next minute you're not anymore because some big monster came and ripped the roof off the building. That's the kind of game we're dealing with here.
The character's skin needs to look like it's not just a surface, but that light goes into the skin, bounces around, and comes back out. That the car paint shader looked like real car paint with layers, a base coat, metal flake, and top coat on top of it. Final Fantasy XV is a fantasy based on reality, so the art designers have created incredibly high detailed models that we've never had before, and the shaders need to step it up to match. So we needed to go with physically based shaders.
料理は、光の透過率や、柔らかさ、これらを素材ごとに変えなければいけないんですけれども、新しいシェーダーを使うことによってこれらがきれいに表現できるようになりました。皆さんに本当に美味しそうだなって感じてもらえる料理が作れるんじゃないかなと思っています。
シェーダーが物理ベースになることで、当然ライト側も現実と同じようになるべきです。我々は照明一つ一つを計測し、それを数値に落とし込んでいます。輝度や照射範囲を確定したライトアセットがあれば、街の照明配置が正しくデザインできますし、太陽の光も HDR で1日分を計測していますので、ゲーム画面の露出が現実の昼夜と同じスケールを持つことができています。
When speaking of the Final Fantasy games, like, I think a lot of people might think of the effect. Like with the new system, we can generate like a lot more particles, like tons of particles, and we can let them move and interact with the environment by their own.
So one of the big focuses for Final Fantasy XV is really to ground our animations and the environment in a realistic way. As much as possible, our goal is to remove any of the disconnect between character motions and nearby terrain, objects, and dynamic forces. We've got a lightweight parkour system, so you'll have some freedom to navigate over fences and other obstacles. Humans and monsters will look around dynamically. We do a good job making sure that limbs, etc. aren't going to penetrate the environment. We've also got a homegrown system to physically animate clothing, hair, and grass. Most deaths are ragdoll influenced, so you'll even be able to sever some body parts. Also, we're starting to make use of physics-based character control, so like humans and monsters balancing and dynamically reacting to damage.
ルミナスタジオの、イベントタイムラインでパーティションが動いてるんですけど、今回新たに、パフォーマンスキャプチャーでの収録を行っています。ボディとフェイシャルを同時に収録するので、よりリアルな表現が可能になっています。
AI キャラクターはこのさまざまな環境を自分の目で見て、自分の頭で考えて、自分で行動を決めて活動しています。ルミナスタジオの AI グラフェイターでは、そういった AI キャラクターの頭脳をゲームの中で再現するための強力なツールになっています。
Within AI, one of the fundamental things that we want to express is movement. It's easy to phrase things in data, such as close to the street vendors but far away from the cats, and somewhere visible to the players.
So we wanted designers to have all the power needed to express what they wanted in the highly complex environments of Final Fantasy 15.
Well, we have a really large team of talented artists here, and to bring all of their creative visions to life, we need an engine that we can customize at a very specific level.
As a graphics programmer, there's nothing better than being paired with a great art team who can really realize the full potential of the tech. And Square Enix has some amazing artists, always pushing the tech to its limits, and the end result is a gorgeous looking game.
Next up, here is the Episode Duskaya 2.0 overview trailer, which shows off some of the improvements that were made from the original. The updated demo finally went live on June 9th, 2015, a few days after the Active Time Report broadcast, and for those who had tried the original before playing the patched version, the difference was immediately apparent. Everything from the frame rate, the camera, the lock-on system, to combat, and just the overall gameplay mechanics were significantly improved, and new additions such as extra quests and monsters to battle further sweetened the deal. I think this was an incredible gesture of good faith on Square Enix's part. They actually showed us that they were taking audience feedback seriously, and the results spoke for themselves. It was a huge confidence boost for those who were concerned about the state of the highly anticipated title. While we're on the topic of Duskaya, something I forgot to show you in the last video was Duskaya's ending cutscene. So here's how that looks like.
インソムニアがニフルハイム帝国軍の襲撃を受けたらしい。
昨日の夜、調印式の席で騒ぎがあった。王都を守る障壁が崩壊。帝国軍は王都城周辺を爆撃。
おい、
待てよ。
両国間で行われていた停戦協定については今回の事件を受け当面の凍結が発表されました。また亡くなられたレギス国王陛下に続きノクティス王子、そしてテネブライのフルーレ家令嬢ルナフリーナ様の死亡が新たに確認されています。
いいか、途中で投げ出すことは許されない。ルシス王家の人間として、このレギスの息子として常に胸を張れ。
With that out of the way, let's move on to what happened after the release of Dusgaea 2.0. Unfortunately, E3 2015, which took place from June 16th to June 18th, 2015, flew by with no trace of a Final Fantasy update to be found. But this wasn't at all surprising considering Hajime Tabata had stated that the game would not be making an appearance at the event. Instead, he planned to present material for Gamescom 2015. And that's exactly what happened. Just one day before Gamescom 2015, on August 4th, 2015, Square Enix released a brand new trailer for the game titled Dawn Trailer. Check it out. Thus marked the beginning of Gamescom 2015, but that's a whole other beast to cover, so I'll be saving coverage of the German gaming event for the next video. With that, I would like to conclude today's episode of the Final Fantasy XV Countdown Retrospective. Thank you for tuning in. Let us know in the comments below what you thought about Dusgaea 2.0 and the Dawn trailer when you experienced them for the first time. And to be further updated on all things Final Fantasy, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out!